After almost a week in Puerto Rio Tranquilo, it was finally time to continue north. My next destination was Villa Cerro Castillo, and a 4-day crossing through some of the most dramatic mountains here in Patagonia. Most hikers complete the Las Horquetas route in opposite direction, but I would be hiking it in reverse, through steep mountain passes, snow, loose rocks and changing weather. And before reaching the end, I would have another unforgettable encounter with Patagonia's rarest deer. In the previous episode, I returned north from Villa Higgins and spent several quiet days editing and recovering in Puerto Rio Tranquilo. On March 18th, it was time to start moving again. We're checking again, Cerro Castillo. Maybe today we started quite late, but maybe it's possible today. And it's around 3 hours in that direction. After almost a week in Puerto Rio Tranquilo, I said goodbye to my friends and returned to the road. The next part of my journey would take me north towards Villa Cerro Castillo. From there I planned to complete the Las Horquetas trail, but in reverse direction. After around an hour, somebody finally stopped. Along the way, we paused beside a lagoon to take a few pictures before continuing north.
A la universidad es bastante.
When I arrived in Villa Cerro Castillo, the mountains were already towering above the village. The main peak, however, was still hidden behind the clouds. No, after surprisingly, we made it to Cerro Castillo. I went to the campsite, rested for a while, and then bought enough food for the next 4 days. To shop for some groceries for the trekking. By the looks of the size of the town, I should have done that earlier. In Tranquilo. But doesn't matter. The following morning, the real journey would begin. Good evening. The hitchhiking went really smooth today, which is very nice because it's getting harder. The high season is over and we're slowly transitioning into winter in Patagonia, so sleeping outdoors is gonna get a lot harder from now on. Less people, harder hitchhiking, and because there are no people in this camping space, I'm allowed to sleep here, which will save me some time in the morning with packing away my tent. Because tomorrow we're starting with Las Horquetas, the Cerro Castillo National Park hike, which is kind of famous, I think, at least if you're into knowing Patagonia. So we're gonna start tomorrow with kind of the easy section, which is just flat ground. The next day we're gonna go up the pass. So we have to see if it's opened because of the weather, but I think it will be possible. I have micro spikes with me. The only problem here is the wind and the descent of the pass because it's quite steep with loose rocks. So tomorrow we're gonna start with the hike and let's hope we don't have too much rain, but we will see. The weather is not good in the October, fall, winter transitioning period here. But I'm gonna sleep, I'm gonna be awake very early, and we're gonna see what happens tomorrow. Good morning, we are 5:50. I slept good on my space here. And I have to hurry a bit, we have to go. So, let's go. I woke up early, packed my equipment and started walking toward the Estero Parada entrance. It was roughly 7 kilometers from my campsite. For most hikers, this side of the park is the end of the trail, but because I was completing Las Horquetas in reverse, this would be my starting point. As the sun began to rise, I entered the park and stopped for breakfast. The valley was still quiet, and the morning light slowly revealed the mountains around me. First pass, we did 7 kilometers in around an hour. So quite good pace, and now we can go slower, because now we're going uphill. So breakfast, and then it's uphill. Not long after, the climbing began. The trail entered the forests and gradually gained elevation toward the mountain. At the first viewpoint, I finally got a better look of some of the surrounding peaks. Cerro Castillo itself was still partly hidden, but the clouds were beginning to move. After around 3 hours, we reached the first camp, which is good because we have a lot of time. So Laguna Duff is possible today. We have 10 and 3 hour 20, 11.8 kilometers. I continued uphill and eventually reached Campamento Portadores. From here, the trail climbed deeper into the mountains towards Campamento Neozelandés. The forest occasionally opened just enough to reveal the peaks above the trees. Almost finished with our elevation and kilometers for today, so time for a small coffee break. And then we only have a little bit left to the camp and maybe some lunch, and then we're going to Laguna Duff, which is the area after the camp. It's like up 1.5 to 2 hours, and then we can go there. But it's quite easy because we don't have a backpack. So let's go after the top. After stopping for a quick coffee, I continued climbing. Not long after, I reached a wide clearing. We basically arrived at Camp New Zealand is in the forest over there. Look at all of that! For the first time, the entire valley opened around me. Mountains surrounded the forest in every direction, and Cerro Castillo was finally beginning to appear. Look at where we already are. Perfect for lunch. It's 12. And we're in camping New Zealanders. Or New Zealand in English. And back here we can camp libre for free. Time to set up camp. Less than an hour later, I reached Campamento New Zealanders. I set up my tent, left most of my equipment behind, and rested for a while. Alright, we're finished with the first part of today. The hard part. We got. See if you can see that. So we got 1000 meters of elevation and 15 kilometers done. And now we're gonna finish the day with going to Laguna Duff, which is this part right here. And it's around 2 hours up and 2 hours down. So we still have a good amount of time until we can go there, because it's only 12, almost 1. So we're gonna make some food, some basic food, and then we're gonna go up the Laguna, and in the evening we're gonna make some real food. Time for some food, and then we go to the next lagoon. Another 200-300 meters of height probably. But the hiking day was not finished yet. There was still another lagoon further up the valley that I wanted to reach. With the day pack of my Osprey, really nice. And Laguna Duff, 2 hours or shorter, I think. And look at that. Whoa. Without the heavy backpack, I continued higher into the mountains.
Trace that to any car.
From there, the upper trail, I could see Cerro Castillo and several neighboring peaks rising above the valley.
It's actually beautiful.
Getting closer and closer to the final approach of the lagoon, and this is out of this world. Wow. We officially have snow here now. So there are quite a few parts behind us where we were walking on snow. And now it's only over that hill, I think. And then we're almost there at the lagoon. Yeah, we are officially in snow now. And little fun fact, this is, from what the rangers said, the first snow of the season. So we're quite lucky to experience these beautiful peaks with ice and snow. Final approach through the snow and up. Eventually, I reached Laguna Duff beneath Punta Duff. I spent several hours besides the lagoon, enjoying the silence and watching the clouds move across the mountains. What an amazing place and an amazing view. But now it's time to head back and get some dinner. And up there, that's Cerro Castillo. Point Dova. I think this one is the Cerro Sanenus, like the chocolate. I have to check that later when I'm editing. Almost back at camp. We're leaving the rocky part and going inside the forest again. So we got the worst part over. And now it's just a fast descent. We got some chicken, some rice, and I'm gonna mix it with tomato soup because I forgot the soy sauce and I have no sauce for the rice, so this is the food today. Rice with sauce and chicken. Alright, it's getting colder and colder. The winter is really coming in quite high. Today we did Laguna Duff, and tomorrow we're going to do the Cerro Castillo trek, the famous one, because we're doing Las Horquetas from the back, kind of. Like this is the last day you would go to, but I switched it around because it's easier to get here with the transport. So today we did all of Laguna Duff, went all the way back, and tomorrow we have that part right here. The part all the way up to Cerro Castillo, and then we're gonna go up the mountain pass, and it's gonna be a lot of elevation. I don't know if you can see it. Good morning, it's 8:30. I slept a little bit longer because yesterday it was too early. So 8:30, we're gonna have some quick breakfast and then start on the day. Good morning again. Day 2 of the hike, and today we're going to Cerro Castillo, the lagoon, and we're gonna go over the pass, but first, breakfast. Next morning, I packed everything again and started walking back along part of yesterday's trail. So, if you remember from yesterday, it's the same route we walked up. That's because we're walking down to Camp Los Potadores, And from that, that's kind of like a crossing where we go up to the paso, up to the pass. That gets us all the way to the beautiful lagoon in front of Cerro Castillo. I mean, the mountain we already saw yesterday twice from two different perspectives, from Laguna Duff and from our camp. But the lagoon view is just amazing and marvelous from what I heard. So let's get there. Hopefully it's opened. We're back in camp. This time the camp is really empty. Probably because all the big groups left already today to go to Laguna Duff and the rest is back in the city. And now we have to find the way up to Cerro Castillo, which is, I think, that direction. So the way we're searching for is just outside camp. I think up there at the crossing where we were yesterday. So we are at the crossing, and that way behind me is the way to Cerro Castillo. Then we can't see it at the moment, but Cerro Castillo is there. And hopefully the view gets better. So this is the climb we have ahead of us. So it's quite a bit to get up to the lagoon. But hopefully it's gonna be okay. After passing Campamento Portadores again, the trail began climbing immediately. At first, it followed relatively normal switchbacks up the hillside. But once I reached the first plateau, the terrain changed completely. Our first 200 meters of elevation done for today, so there should be around 600 left. And we're slowly climbing out of the clouds. It's just very nice, because this gives me hope for an incredible view over Cerro Castillo later. Oh, we will see. We're almost at the first fourth summit. Or in this case, not really summit, but you got the idea. But this marks the halfway point for our ascent. We made it to the first fourth summit. Looks like we're walking over the clouds, so we could get a good view. Amazing climb so far. Just to give a perspective, I don't know if you can see it, there's the next trail mark. Whew. You can see the city where we came from. All the way down there. So there's the lago in front of Chile Chico. Down there is the Carretera Star. So all the way up there is the next trail marker. It looks quite steep. Then the rear climb began. The trail continued straight up a steep slope of looser rock and scree. The trail markers are getting more and more interesting. All the way up there. And then there's one. Up there. But with every meter gained, the views became more impressive. We still got a lot to go. But look at that. Oh, you made it so far. I have a lot of time, so we're gonna make it 100%. But it's amazing. It's amazing. Go do this trek if you can. The mountain is peeking through Cerro Castillo. You can see the last trace line all the way up there, which is probably the Laguna or the top. To go up there. Hopefully the last climb. Behind that lake there's Chico. Behind that mountain there's Argentina. Somewhere back there is Puerto Ibanez. And the Rio Tranquilo is somewhere there. The town is back here. Small break. Then we do the last summit. After several exhausting hours, I finally reached the top. We descended a little bit, but just for the record, 1,690. So back there we were at around 1.7. What an amazing view we got from up here. Just incredible. Below me was Laguna Cerro Castillo, surrounded by snow peak and enormous rock walls. The main summit was still partly hidden by clouds, but after the climb I had just completed, it did not matter. The view was incredible. Almost made it, and now we're descending. We're on the final descent down to the lagoon. Behind us is Cerro Castillo in the mountains, in the clouds. Hopefully it will clear up, but I don't think so. We will wait some time, maybe it will clear up. We're boarding snow now. Short snack before we go to camping El Bosque, or a different one, but I don't know if the other one exists. A quick snack before we continue in around around 1 hour. And we're going to El Bosque. The camping is around 3 kilometers away, or we're going to camping more near, which is around 1 kilometer away, but the camping more near only exists on Maps.me and not on the official park map and not on our trails. So if it is the 1 kilometer away, it would be quite nice, because I could come back tomorrow quite easily to get the view here, or I walk all the way 3 kilometers here and 3 kilometers back to El Bosque in the morning, but I haven't decided that yet. Alright, we didn't get the view, it even got worse, but it's still amazing here. And now it's time to head to the camping, so let's go. We have to go this way. There's also some camping La Tierra, but I don't know, camping La Tierra still exists. Weird.
After spending some time above the lagoon, I began descending into the next valley. The trail was steep, but the hardest part of the day was finally behind me. Eventually, I reached my campsite, with one final view across the mountains before sunset.
This is our camping space for today, our campsite, and I mean, look at that, and we're also 350 meters away from Castillo, so maybe tomorrow I will go there for sunrise and look if it looks better, maybe. So I set up my kitchen. We have enough food for the next days, and today fruits, tomato sauce and sausage. This incredible view, like. Alright, it is time for me to sleep. Tomorrow we're gonna start early to do a lot of way. So, early bedtime tonight. Good night. See you tomorrow. Good morning. We currently have 7:30, so it's time for breakfast and then a fast start in the day. Oh, it got really cold this night apparently. My boots froze a bit. Oh, it's getting colder and colder here in Patagonia. The winter is officially here. Yeah, there's some new snow up there as well. Okay, time for breakfast. Good morning. So it is day 3 of our hike, and today we got quite the challenge ahead of us. Just like yesterday, we have to cross a pass, and I'm not sure yet which pass it is, but from the map it looks like that right there is our pass we have to go over. I'm not 100% sure yet, we will see later, but this is the challenge for today. Only 12 kilometers, but again 1,000 kilometers in height probably. 1,000 meters. I'm still not awake, sorry. Alright, breakfast and then we go. That's the furthest I'm gonna walk. We still have a bunch of kilometers today. But I might stay a little bit and look if it gets even more clear by lag.
The following morning was my final full day inside the park. I started early and moved quickly through the forest. Ahead of me was another mountain crossing, Portezuelo El Peñón.
Kind of energyless today, so I think it's because the calories that are missing are kicking in. So today we're gonna eat a sopa quite early to get some energy back, and then our protein bar for today at the hill because we're almost at the paso. So we're gonna eat something here to have the energy to go over the pass. So this is the pass we're walking over. It's kind of right in front of us. But first, super. Alright, we're continuing. And now we're slowly starting with the uphill, with the elevation for today.
As the trail climbed higher, the forest disappeared and the landscape opened again. Glaciers hung between the peaks, and patches of snow covered the upper slopes.
So I don't know if you can see it from down here. There's one trail marker right there. And then this is where we have to be today. So all the way up there. I'm not quite sure how we are supposed to get up there because I don't see any switchbacks, but I guess there's only one way to find that out. This is the first one and there's a rope. Then the rope goes there. And this is one of the final ones. You can kind of see the markers and the ropes up there.
The climb was still challenging, but compared with the loose rock ascent from the previous day, it felt more manageable.
We're making good progress. The glacier in the background is very delightful to see. And I think that's the first summit, but we're making good progress. We're finished with the first part of the elevation, the one we saw from down there. But I think there's another hill behind that corner. So let's keep going. We entered the zone. It's nice again.
I continued higher until the trail entered the snow.
snowing. It's not even raining anymore. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's snowing, officially. Almost finished with the pass. And no visibility, unfortunately. We're slowly descending, and somewhere down there is our campsite for today.
Then one final push brought me over the pass. From Portozuelo, El Peñón, the trail dropped into an entirely new valley. The mountains slowly disappeared behind me as I descended back towards the forest. The rest of the day was easier, mostly following the trail through the trees with occasionally openings towards the surrounding peaks.
I think we're here. I think it's the camping. Is it? Nobody here. Nobody here. See if we can find a kind of dry spot. Today's food, almost same as yesterday, sausage with noodles and tomato sauce. Our food for today.
I started later on the final morning, the remaining distance was shorter, and after the previous days I needed the extra rest.
Good morning. We currently have almost 12 because it's the last day, it's relatively flat. So I treated myself with some sleep. And we're packing away slowly. At 12 we're gonna start. I'm gonna eat my soup. And then it's off to the end of the trek. And we have day number 4. Good morning again, good afternoon, good noon, good noon. We're walking on a abandoned street like it looks. And it's day 4, it's the last day, kind of, because today we're still camping outside. I mean, I've been camping the last 2.5 months outside, mostly 90%. But today we're sleeping in the national park again, because we're doing the Las Horquetas Cerro Castillo trek the wrong way around. So we have to hitchhike a good way back to town. So tonight I will sleep on the Las Horquetas camping site and hitchhike tomorrow early in the morning.
The trail continued through an easier section of the forest. And then something completely unexpected happened. I saw 2 young Huemul. Once again, they allowed me to get surprisingly close. I stayed quiet, gave them space, and watched them as they moved calmly through the forest. Eventually, I left them alone and continued towards the end of the trail.
What a lucky sight, we saw Huemul, second time here in Patagonia, but unfortunately the main camera lens, I don't know if you can see it, was fogged up because it's cold, so there's like, yeah, I don't think the footage is clear. We will see, but it's really nice that we saw some. And now it's time for river crossing, hopefully only one today. Woo! It is quite cold for that.
But a little later, something even more incredible happened.
It's getting too cold for this kind of stuff. Oh, look at who just appeared behind us. The Huemul are following us. Hello, friends. So the Huemul are actually using the same tracks we do. So Huemul again on the last day as well, and I think I could have seen them again because they are following us kind of, but I didn't want to scare them. Like, we're in a national park, respect the animals, so very nice that we saw them again.
After the Huemul disappeared into the forest, I continued walking.
Wow. That is really, really cold. We're gonna make a short break at this hut, which is free to use for everybody wanting to do a break or seeking refuge if there's a storm or something. We started here, went all the way to Camp New Zealanders, Laguna Duff, Cerro Castillo on the second day, all the way down to Campamento Tetra. From here we went all the way over Paso Peñon, all the way to Campamento Rio Tobio, all the way here, all the way past Puerto Viejo, and now we're somewhere here-ish. Still got a little bit to go, but we're almost finished with our trek. So I just checked, we have around 6.2 kilometers left. That means around 2 hours of walking, and then we're finished for the day, or finished for the whole trek, and then it's only hitchhiking back. All of the paths here are vanishing because of all the rain we had in the last days, and because of all the snow that's now coming here and melting. All of the ways are going missing next to the water. That's a very good example how erosion is working and why you have to stay on track in the national park. Because exactly of this.
The trail became easier and I enjoyed the final views of the mountains behind me.
I didn't film it, but I saw a lot of hoof marks from Jabili. White boars.
Before long, the Las Horquetas exit appeared ahead.
Across the little hut. The park guard. Yes, I don't know if you can see it. Small house. Even of taking so much time, we only have 5 today. Today. I don't know. After 4 days of walking, the sign of civilization again. What an amazing trek that was. We saw Huemul, Carpinterinos. Oh, amazing. There's a bridge to cross here. I think I'm gonna make myself a bit fresher, put on my fresh clothing, and then try to hitchhike.
I stayed at some time before returning to the road, so I washed in the river and rested beside the water. Then it was time to hitchhike back toward Villa Cerro Castillo.
20 minutes after 5, so 2.5 hours roughly of sunlight. Maybe possible to find a ride, if we're really lucky. Otherwise, we're gonna sleep in the bush there. We are finished, 61.3 kilometers, 2,900, almost 3,000 meters in elevation, and a total time of 21 hours.
Less than an hour later, somebody stopped.
We were super lucky to get a ride by a really nice family, and of course the first stop is the supermarket after hiking. We're in the same camping space again. I'm on my couch again. Tomorrow the camping space here is closing, so I have to go, and I'm drying my tent up there. I think tomorrow one more day and then we'll come to Coyhaique. I think. We will see tomorrow, I'm very tired.
Over 4 days I had crossed Cerro Castillo in reverse. The route had taken me through forests, snowy passes, steep scree slopes, and some of the most impressive mountain scenery I had seen in Patagonia. After finishing the trek, I stayed in Villa Cerro Castillo for a few more days to rest and edit, but on March 25th it was time to pack up again and continue north. Next stop would be Coyhaique.